What up, WWE Champions Universe? Welcome to Champions Chat, the fastest growing podcast dedicated to the WWE Champions mobile game. I'm Baxter Stockman, Iron Sheik 84, and as always with me is Leatherhead Lee Brown. What's up, Lee?
Oh, I love how easily you slot into these. This is so fun. Well, what's up? We're in the midst of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover with WWE, and I don't know. Some people said it was a rumor, some people said it was a myth, and then all of a sudden it's here on our shores. It's quite fun. What do you think of the crossover that's going on right now?
I've shared this on a couple of the Discord channels just as a side note. But I love TMNT. So, as a kid of the 80s, I grew up with the Saturday morning cartoon show. And I know I've talked about this in the past. My mom is such a saint. So my dad unfortunately couldn't take us because he was at work. But my mom took me and my little brothers to go watch TMNT in the cinema,
Wow.
as well as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and so many movies that I'm sure she was bored out of her mind. But I love TMNT. What I was talking about about on the Discord stuff, I've actually met Kevin Easton before, the creator of the Turtles, and
Oh,
there was a TMNT event thing in Dallas years ago. I got to meet one half of Partners in Crime. The people who did the song at the end of the first movie. The TURTLT power, TURTLT power. And
nice.
then I also got to meet Ernie Reyes Jr., aka Kino, and the star of
No.
Certain News. So Quan Su, dudes.
Nice, and he was Donatello, I think, in it was like not the voice, but he was
Yeah,
the I guess we'd call it mocap, but I mean whatever
yeah,
you want to say, like because it wasn't digital, it was. But yeah. He was one
yeah,
of the turtles behind the mask, and then he got to be out of a mask. That was nice.
yeah.
Yeah, same. I grew up, I mean, He-Man and Thundercats were my number one, number two, but Turtles was always right there with them. I had the original toys. I sold them, unfortunately, but I had the ones that had the squishy heads and everything. Like, the later ones, they had this hard rubber, and if you had the squishy heads, they were worth something later on, but I sold them in a garage sale or something like a putz. So, oh well. It is what it is. How
Yeah.
about the event itself? How are you liking? I'm not just the theming of it, but just the event in the game.
So so I know some people may like it, some people may not. I personally am a fan. Look, anytime that there is a grindable event to get
Yeah,
free characters, that's a 10 out of 10 for me right off the bat. Uh, One of the things that I always tell people is whenever you do a poll, uh, any day you get a fuse or a character out of it, it's a win for me. Some
right.
wins are bigger than others, obviously, but
Yes.
anytime that happens, it's a win. The fact that I'm getting two free characters out of this for just playing the event,
Yep.
like I said, 10 out of 10 for me. I am so appreciative that they allowed an unlimited amount of blitz for a reasonable amount of tickets to
Yeah.
make up for points when you don't have a CSS. So,
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's, like, for me, honestly, there really shouldn't be an excuse to not get, at bare minimum, uh, Kofi, aka Mikey.
Right. If not also Donatello, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could understand, some people may not be able to do all the CSS stuff, but I mean, but still, in general, you should be able to get Mikey no matter what.
Right. And they're good too. In fact, Merrick's and Rusty and I were talking offline, but I mean, he said this publicly, so it's not like I'm sharing secrets or whatever. But
Yeah.
like Raphael as a fighter is not good. I mean, Merrick's called him Timu Braun Strowman. Now, as a coach, I mean, top notch. You want that, but the fact that arguably, I mean, Leonardo Seth is great as a fighter and amazing as a coach, which of course he should be as the S plus tier. But the fact that most people are, I mean, he's out of reach for me. I would assume. I doubt I'm going to get Seth. But the better two of the fighters are the ones that we get for free. That also is like, okay, thank you. This is great.
Well, it's no shock to me that the weenie in a mask is
I
not,
didn't even think
not
about
the
it.
best person in there.
I even called it out on the break it down video. If you haven't watched it, I mentioned, oh, this is going to make Iron Sheik happy that Raphael's Rey Mysterio is not good.
Oh, it did. Trust me, it did very much so.
Nice. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so I would say behind the scenes, every once in a while, as content creators, we get to be involved in a kind of a call to talk about how things have gone and how they're going. And I can't tell you how many times it has been brought up, and oftentimes by me, to be transparent, because I'm not throwing somebody else's name out there. Hey, remember the Rocky event? Just do the Rocky event again. Like copy paste. I don't care. Just the Rocky event was so good. And it seems like this is that close to copy paste of what we wanted. Like you mentioned that, the fact that you can do auto clear tickets on the Michelangelo tour and, get those free resources again. I spent probably, while I was doing some other things, but I probably spent an hour and a half, 2 hours last night just clicking auto clear tickets over and over and over and over again. Like literally, doing what I was doing there, but my thumb was going up, down, up, down, up, down. And I've gotten like 2 or 3 of those mega polls, which they're not game changing in the sense that like you're not getting a zillion TP, but you're getting a good amount of coin, a good amount of TP, some decent prize wall tokens. I mean, overall, huge win for me. Huge win for the community, I think.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on this. I know. I know we kind of talked about what topics we were gonna like discuss later on. The
Yeah,
only thing there's, again, I've always said that I'm not a negative person. I don't try to
right.
look at just things to complain about.
Sure.
The only if I were to give a critique to this event, the only one that I would give is I wish that they had worded the blog a little bit better
Yeah,
to where it was more clear of like, this is the prize wall for week one. This is when it starts. This is when it ends.
right.
And then this is the prize wall for week two. This is when it starts. This is when it ends. Because when I was catching Merrick's stream the other day, as well as Professor's, which by the way, if you aren't already, make sure to follow Merrick's Gaming and Professor G Gaming. Uh, I'm sure you agree. Like everybody in there was like, oh my god, when do I use my medallions now, or when does it
Right.
expire? I just think that having just getting it worded a little bit better to where people know, like, okay, this is how long I have to use my stuff to make a decision on whether to do pulls, whether to cash them in for one of the characters or whatever,
Right.
because I had that same discussion multiple times in my faction too.
Yeah, yeah. We did as well. I mean, there was a bit of a oh gosh, I have enough to like our faction finished really well in the first event and got like 100,000 prize wall medallions, and so that meant some people were already ready to like claim one of the 6-star variants, not the gold, but the like 6-star Donatello, and there was almost like a gold rush, like oh my gosh, do we have to do this right now? Because if I don't do it right now, do I lose it? Do I and it was like chill, chill. I mean, they're giving you 2 weeks for it because those who like theoretically, I think the play, of course, for them is to get Seth as the carrot that they dangle, and if you get a bunch of prize wall medallions, you could then later on, again, theoretically, buy the $100 pass that gets you the prize wall that Seth is on, and then go towards that. But even if not, I'm pretty sure the prize walls have a timer now on them, or at least the event does, that shows it runs for 7 more days. So basically, till
Yeah.
next Thursday or Friday at reset, basically, it'll be going. And yeah. What do you think about the nested event? I saw a number of comments on the community and on the Facebook that, hey, why wasn't this its own MLC? Like, why did we have 2 weeks of Bloodline that actually is still 4 weeks, and then 2 weeks of Turtles? I mean, realistically, as a content creator, this was 9 new characters that I had to do videos for. I'm not that I had to do. I enjoy doing them, but like, surprise, you're going to be up until 2 in the morning with 4 more characters the other day.
Yeah. So for me, like it's not a big deal to me. The only thing that I will say is um, I wish sometimes things were spread out a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes we have some days where we're just twiddling our thumbs and we're like, okay, well I logged in and I'm done in 2 minutes, and now I've got to wait till tomorrow. And then we have like 14 events on the same day, and then we're like, oh my god, I gotta play, oh I gotta do showdown, I gotta do tours, oh I gotta do this.
Right.
That would be it for me. Is that if I was going to introduce it, maybe like put it on a day where it's like maybe like on an off day or something, and then of course my Lee. By the way, I think the stream is down.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. It's coming back up again.
Oh, okay,
But the
okay,
recording is still saying it's going. So as
okay,
long as the
yeah, yeah,
recording is going,
yeah.
we're okay.
I just wanted to make mention of it because I have it on the side just to make sure that we're not buffering or anything. But
No,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure my internet's having some issues today because normally we have, the chats going nuts, things like that. Things are just, but it's good. It's good. We're cutting an episode, and you and I are here. That's the important part for it for now.
okay, yeah. All right, cool. Just making sure. All right, but yeah, the but yeah, like I said, I'm fine with the event. The only thing I okay, if you can talk to Garrison and find out, give me a list of exactly who asked for more showdowns, so I can DM them and tell them how much I think about them. I would sincerely appreciate that.
Well, I mean, we're kind of segueing into this right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
so let me set up the segment. So we're going to do a little segment together that we're just calling blank number of things, however many we get to, that the player base wishes Scopely understood. And then I've got a couple things that I'll throw in that, from my limited perspective of interaction with Scopely, that Scopely wishes the player base understood. For me, you've already started to hit on the first one. Oh, and I'm sorry, we're going to call these constructive things because
Yeah.
every week, Rusty and I, or my by myself, we do the WCW, the weekend contest walkthrough, and at the end of every single blog is a little thing that says, "Hey, go on the portal, give us constructive feedback," and we always try to give examples of what constructive feedback is because let's be honest, if people are just a rage monster on there and like I hate everything and the devs are terrible and like would you listen to that? Like, let's say you owned a company, right? And somebody comes in and, 70% of your player base is happy. 10% is disgruntled but not angry. And then you have this portion that's super angry that just always complains about everything. Like, you want to hear them, but it's the way, the anger comes across and the way it's like, you, this, and pointing fingers. So what we want to do is kind of give an example of what is constructive feedback is, because from my limited interaction with people at Scopely, they actually truly want to hear things. And so what are some things that we as a player base wish they knew? The first one for me is I think that I wish they knew that the spacing of events matters. And like, for example, I had a time off on what was it, Monday night or Tuesday night or whatever, a rare time off, and there was absolutely nothing to do in the game. And then the very next day, like you said, there's a blitz, there's a showdown, there's limited time tours, there's a master manager competition. So it was like I went from like I so much would have liked to have half of that moved to Monday where I didn't have anything, and literally on my days off, I want to play this game. I enjoy it. It's my hobby. It's the thing I do to pass the time. And on my day off, I had nothing. And then on a day where I literally worked 12 hours, it was like everything. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, and like I said, I really do wish, like I said, like you just said, having it spaced out would be so much better. Uh,
Uh-oh.
when I think of MLC, yeah, when I think of MLCs, I think of tours.
Right.
So I know they've broken it up to where like you have tours one week and then you have this next week and then that. I wish there was a tour every week period.
Mm,
That would be something that I would want. And then, yeah, like you said, it's just we have just some days you feel overwhelmed, and uh, every once in a while, like I have maybe like an hour of free time that I can dedicate, and then the other times it's juggling, doing one thing, two things, three things at the time while I have my phone out trying to do this and trying to do this at the same time.
right. Yeah. Yeah, there's a balance. And again, that's not angry stuff. That's just
Yeah,
constructive. It's just, hey,
yeah,
another good example would be at the start of every MLC, or at the end of every MLC, there's a day where there's literally nothing. And I get that they probably do that intentionally as a chance to bug test and chance to whatever. But then again, the very next day, it's so for me, Sunday is already a light day in terms of what they have content wise. Usually, I would much prefer MLC start on Mondays. I think they used to. I think there's a version of my brain that remembers Monday was when MLC started at one point instead of Tuesdays, because then the Monday before an MLC is often just a waiting game. And luckily, you know what's coming up theoretically, or well, I guess sometimes the blog releases oftentimes on Monday, so I guess you don't even know what's coming up. But you're just sitting there going, I know there's a new MLC tomorrow, so I know there's going to be a lot to do, but today is
yeah.
I think it respects our time better when things are spread out a little bit. And then there's days where they do a decent amount of content, but like I get through it and I'm like, I wish there was more. So I'm also the problem because there's often times where I'm like, hey, just keep giving me more to do. I've suggested before, like, hey, we had this big glitch that happened where people exploited the road tours. What if it was like Call of Duty where you could prestige? If you max out, the road tours, you can go one time and reset them all back to zero or something, where there was ongoing a way that if I want to waste time, I can literally hop on and just play whatever matches and get more than 5 TP. So I've got one more after this that's going to lead
Oh, yeah,
into.
sure.
But what's your thing? One thing or a couple things the player base wishes Scopely knew.
Well, I've always. By the way, MLCs did used to start on Monday, so you're
I
not
thought
like
so.
this isn't the Mandela effect going for you.
Nice.
All
I
right.
thought so.
Yeah. So this is something that I've kind of advocated. By the way, I understand. I know we've always talked about this. Scopely is a company. Scopely is a profit-based company, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No need to
Sure.
get back into that. I wish that since MLC start on Tuesday anyway, and Monday is typically a left day. You get the one ticket, you do your blitz, that's it.
Right.
I wish they would stop the MLC at like say like midnight or something like that, and they would take that Monday and take the game down,
Hmm.
do server upgrades, do whatever it is, so that way Tuesdays start without bugged events and the hey your data's consistent is inconsistent. Let's do a refresh.
Right.
Yeah. So surprisingly, I think I was busy and I didn't even know about the road issue. So actually, that's one of the ones that I actually didn't do.
Gotcha.
And by the time I found out about it, they'd already fixed it, and I was like, okay, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think that just putting the game down for 24 hours in order to have a month where we get you know less bugged events. I don't know how else to put it, but for maybe them to have like a day to go through with a fine tooth comb and make sure that oh hey we're not giving away like oh we meant
Yep. Audio cut out.
to, whatever. I would welcome that so much.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Yeah, well, then my next thing that I think the player base wishes Scopely knew or understood or implemented is we don't mind grinding. And it's getting better, like this Michelangelo event going on right now. But in terms of when there's not a special event, I don't think the majority, I'm only speaking maybe for myself, but I think I get the sense from the player base to say, like, if we need TP, a lot of people don't mind going in and doing the road tours and scrounging through. The problem is when the reward for your loot boxes in there is 1 or 5 TP at best, and it
Mhm.
takes 3 hours to get 200 TP when there's 4,000 TP available. I would personally love to see, even if it's a new tour on the road, that would be fine for me as well. Where there are 100 TP bags or 50 TP in there. I think the argument could be made that with the, if we want to call it the inflation or what Rusty calls, the cost of living in the game, having gone up, where 4,000 TPs required for one move now, I think
Yep.
that it's not unreasonable to add zeros anywhere there used to be no zeros. So, for example, if it was 1 TP, make it 10. If it was 5 TP, make it 50. Et cetera, et cetera. And even if it was 100 TP, make it 1,000. Like I know that. Oh my gosh, but 1,000 TP used to sound like so much. But again,
Yeah.
if I have 16,000 TP, that's 4 moves.
Yeah.
That's not my entire roster goes up. That's literally 4 moves, and I personally regularly have less than, well, in some cases I have 0 TP in 2 or 3 colors at a time on an ongoing basis. So that's one of mine. Thoughts on that, and then yours.
Yeah. What's funny is that, like, you've been doing this podcast for over a year.
Yeah,
One of the very
crazy.
first topics that we talked about when I had my very first guest spot was the economies of scale.
Right,
And, I do appreciate, again, I do want to celebrate the victories. There have been milestones and things that have been adjusted to where you're not
right,
getting 10,000 coins because that's
right.
nothing.
It's nothing now. Yeah,
But on the same token, I totally agree with you because I know that Flexdon had talked about this when he'd had his community spotlight.
right.
But like, like I've talked about this sometimes, like, when they do an update, but it's already behind where it is, it's
Right.
frustrating because let me just, I brought it up real quick just to reference. So when they did the Showdown Shop refresh, at that time, getting 200 TP in the shop was great. I mean, like much better
Right.
than 5 or 10 at a time.
Right.
But even then, when they did it, like what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, or whatever the time frame was,
Right.
200 TP was way too low. Like, and I had argued that it should have been like 500 minimum. And
Right.
that's like 2 years ago or whatever it is, let alone today.
Right.
And then the same thing, if you remember, like I kind of talked about the when we do the daily insta claim when they were
Hmm.
like when they did the multiplier from 1 to 8, and I was like, yeah, it should have started at 8 and then gone up. And I know that they've I think 12's the max now, right?
Yeah, something like that. 12 or
Yeah,
maybe even 13, but something like that.
yeah, but 12, 13, like I said, yeah, but you remember, like I said, it's like it should have started at 8 and gone forward, and then
Right.
like right now it should be like if they did an update, it should be like 13 to 16 or whatever it is.
Right.
I really wish that Scopely would go in, and I understand that. Look, I'm not a programmer. I don't know how easy it is. So like it's very easy to armchair quarterback and be like, oh yeah, just change the code and add a
Right.
zero and blah blah blah. I get it. It's not as
Yeah.
simple as that,
Right.
but there are things in the game that definitely need an update. If nothing else, if you go for everybody who's got a second, go to the store, scroll all the way down, and I mean all the way down. And whenever you scroll, take a look at the cash and coins that's offered at the bottom.
For 10
So
bucks? Is that what you're talking about? The ones that are like $10?
yeah, these ones right. Oh, there you go. Yeah, like that right there. So you're gonna tell me that 1.2 million coins is worth 10,000 in-game cash. That's not even leveling up one, going up one level now at
Right.
6-star gold. So yeah, they need to update that. They need to update like the in-game faction expeditions, because even that shop is like, like here again. I'm just doing this real quick. So 100,000 coin is offered for 1,000. For 1,000 like faction coins, a 5 TP bag. I mean, come on, like you
Right.
know, it just, instead of like I said, I wish that they would update these maybe like quarterly, semi-annually, rather than
Right.
wait 4 years and then do like, hey, we did an update, and then like I said, it's already a year behind where it should be.
Right. Well, let me take an opportunity with that because that's a perfect. We'll get back to what your next thing is there, but on the flip side, what Scopely wishes the player base knew, and maybe I don't think I'm sharing things that break my NDA or anything like that here. I hope not. But it's been pointed out to me before that certain aspects of the in-game, especially in the store, and most especially with the online passes, that while Scopely would love to update those, the rules for the Apple and Google Play stores are that if those change, they could legitimately get booted off of the App Store, period. There's a huge, especially subscriptions, there is a huge amount of legal data on there where they literally cannot change certain aspects of it. Now, they've done some things to get around, not like to get around the rules, blah, blah, but like to
Yeah,
get around that restriction, and how they, bump the tour or how they, whatever. But literally, some of those in-game offers, and just speaking from like the job that I work for right now, we are changing our website platform over to a platform that does website and app. It's a little bit cheaper, blah, blah, blah. But literally this week, I had to go through the Apple developer process and the Google Play process. And the people who, the company that we were working with on there flat out said, hey, just so you know, we are removing your events section from all things for the next little bit, because if there's any inconsistency there with what was submitted to Apple and Google, they will reject it and it will take 6 more weeks to get it done. And it was like,
yeah,
whoa, like literally, if we update our online events calendar, the Play Store and Apple Store will reject the app and it'll take us 6 weeks. And that's just a minor example. So one of the
yeah,
things I think that Scopely wishes the player base understood is certain aspects of the game they also wish they could update and
yeah.
can't. Now, does that mean we can't find creative solutions? That's a different story, but that is one of the aspects of it. So, sorry to interject. I was going to save those for the
Oh yeah,
end, but that was right there, so I wanted to give it.
yeah. Oh
So,
no,
yeah.
it's all, no, no, no. It's all good. Like I get that we don't rehearse this ahead of time, so sometimes
Right.
we might be speaking about stuff in advance that we didn't realize. But yeah, no. And I remember you talking about that as well. About updating subscriptions and whatnot.
Right.
Um, well, one example I can give is, I know for a while people were saying like, "Oh, hey, we need a new King of Kings tour,"
Right.
and it wasn't updated, and then like I think like in again, not trying to pull one of those, like trying to pull a fast one,
Right.
but like introducing like a new set of offers that are you know more in line with where the game is now, I think would be easy. So like with the King of Kings tour, instead of updating the milestones, they just took the old one down and put up a new tour, which I don't understand why they didn't do that ahead of time. So I guess I
Right.
get this going another the players wish that Scopely knew, like, well,
Yeah.
like I get that you can't, I don't understand, or I don't know why like just adding in a new tour wouldn't have been, how that would have broken anything in a legal sense or anything like that,
Right.
because having a new tour is not, in my opinion, isn't part of why you do the,
The subscription.
like, the doing the King of Kings doesn't say like, oh, it has to be specifically this tour. It's just you get a special tour. So
Right.
getting an updated one like the one that we have now, is, I don't know, like again, just what I think that small things could be done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't disagree. I mean, especially, again, the economy of add a zero, add two zeros. You have the King of Kings tour, and I don't know how closely monitored that is within the app stores or what have you. But yeah, it gives out a couple hundred TP bags. Those should probably be a couple thousand TP bags at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah, agreed. Well, any other things that you wish Scopely knew for the player base?
Um, I mean, I know. Well, yeah, well, I know I talked about this before. So actually, for one thing, I wish that the people. So when the thing pops up that says, "Hey, take a survey."
Right.
So so I signed an NDA, so I'm not going to talk about what I did, but they actually do focus tests. So fill out the survey. You might get contacted about taking a look at beta stuff. So yeah. So again, I'm not trying. I'm not going to talk about what I talked about, but when G did the update talking about like, oh hey, we have a strap filter things coming out.
Right.
Uh, allegedly, I may have known about that in advance.
Ooh.
So yeah, so just want to let people know that. The other thing that I wish Scopely knew, and I know that people talked about, and I actually talked about it during my thing. I wish that you could add, and I know I've talked about this before. I wish that you could add like a favorite, like a star or an indicator or something on trainers, so that way you don't have to scroll through 50,000 people to find who you want. And I get that loadouts are a way of kind of doing that. But here's the thing: when you have a new character come out and you don't have a loadout set up for them,
Right.
it takes forever. And then of course when a new better character comes out that does what say like a Showboat Matt Hardy versus a Sherry, having to go through every single time and updating that. I wish there was a way to tag favorites to where you don't have to, you have to do less trolling.
Right. I agree, and I mean, as one who has to do. I mean, again, I'm not saying has to in a bad way, but like gets to do videos and streams with all new characters. So every week we're typically looking at a new character in some capacity, whether it's power rating or whether it's creating the breakdown videos or whatever it is. And when everything on the account is the same level, because like my CC account is all 6 silver, everyone's the same relative. There's a few that are weirdly lower talent, but most of them are the same. And then on the Candy Store account, all gold. And so literally, like on my own roster, I can just go, okay, well, I intentionally leave my Woods, my Lawler, my Animal Steel at their lowest talent level that they can be to get their thing, because then I just scroll down and go, okay, at the bottom there they are. The alternative to that is to make them the highest talent on my roster, and I'm just not going to do that. So
Yeah.
so keeping them at the bottom. But on the Candy Store accounts, literally they could be anywhere. I mean, there's some predictable patterns, but for the most part, I mean, I could sit there and scroll, and you've seen streams where Professor, Davey, myself, Merrick's, anybody who have done this, sitting there and luckily, like Rusty and I have a banter, you and I have a banter, DJ and
Yeah.
T Unit have a banter, but poor, like, like when you're just doing a stream solo and you're sitting there scrolling, you're like, this has got to be the most boring content I've ever created. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's crazy. Well, anything else?
I mean, nothing that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, I'm sure I'm probably going to come up with like 50 things right after we're done with the session.
Do a
But
follow up.
yeah, but yeah, for the most part, that's. I mean, I think I hit the major points.
Okay. Well, then, before we transition to the next segment here, which is zombie related, just FYI, I would say one more thing that Scopely wishes the player base understood. And again, this only comes from, I'm not breaking any confidence or NDAs, but this only comes from, being an official content creator, a few back end conversations and things that have happened. But I could say in general, I think Scopely wishes the player base understood that there are real people behind this. and they have real feelings, real emotions, real desires, and most of them, believe it or not, are 100% for the player base. They want to create a game that people want to play. They want to create good experiences, and they want to, when things go awry, we can talk about, okay, why are there glitches? I get it. But when things happen, they want to do something that actually encourages the player base, but they also have in some ways the golden handcuffs, if you want to call them that, that prevent them from just going, yeah, give everybody everything. That'd be great. And also, they also have people they report to. So think about your work. There are things, not just you, Iron Sheik, but you, the
Yeah.
listening audience. There are things that a customer comes in and you wish you could give them the moon because of what's happened or whatever, but because of corporate policies, because of whatever, you just can't. And yes, at some point there's a nameless executive, there's a nameless whatever up there that's calling the shots. But the reality is, we all work in a capitalistic system. Corporate or non-corporate doesn't matter. You have just the way things are sometimes against you, and when people get angry, and it's okay to get angry, it's just what you do with it from there. But when people get angry and Scopely just wants to ruin my life, Scopely just wants my money, Scopely just wants to whatever. Yeah, it's fine to throw that at a nameless company, but when you see a face, when you see a person and recognize they're legitimately trying to do the best they can. And again, sometimes they don't get it right, blah blah blah. I get it. I'm not defending them to say that there's no harm, no mistakes anywhere. I mean, I would give myself the same grace to say I've probably screwed up and hurt people. I've probably screwed up and made the wrong call. But when people understand that there's a real person, and I can say, with confidence, again, without naming names, like I know a couple on the Scopely team who have legitimately lost sleep over decisions that the player base, assumed were done with capitalistic, money-based motives. And they're sitting there going, guys, I wish you could see that I love this community and I want this game to thrive. I can't do certain things, and so I'm not asking everybody to treat Scopely, the nameless entity, with flowers and kid gloves, but at the same time, when you lash out, and especially when it's on an online forum or when it's something like that, there's real people there. Similarly, for the content creators, I know one of our friendly, lovely content creators has had to ban people recently because they were just trolling the crap out of him. And it's like, dude, do you not understand? Like, I do this in my free time. And this wasn't me, by the way. I'm not sharing my own story
Yeah.
here. But, do you not realize I'm doing this on my free time to try to help the player base? And then you're sitting there crapping on me because literally maybe I use this move first instead of that move, or whatever. So just the understanding that there are real people behind this, and sometimes they deserve the crap that you send them, but for the most part, put yourself in their shoes to say, hey, if it were you that made that mistake, would you want someone to assume your motives were horrible, that you were trying to get them, that you were wanting to ruin their day, ruin their life, etc. And if you can't honestly say, like, yeah, I wouldn't want somebody assuming that of me, then
Hmm.
give that grace to that other person as well.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah. So I do have I have some I do have I have a few retorts to that, by the way. But here's one of the things that I've always told people, like when you talk about people who just lash out. So like I said, I own the subreddit for WWE Champions,
Yep.
and I do have some people on there who they hate every single event, they hate every single contest,
Yeah.
every single character that comes out is the worst.
Right.
Oh my god, this game only caters to whales, etc., etc., etc.
Yep.
And I know that you all have touched on this before. Look, life is short, and I'm not talking about just champions. Period. If
Right.
there's something that's causing you so much misery, and watching it, doing it, playing it, whatever, is legitimately causing you to be a miserable person. One of the analogies I can give is like, let's say you go, there's a hamburger, like you're in the mood for a hamburger, right? And every single time that you go to the hamburger place, they screw up your order. It's
Right.
undercooked, it's they get the toppings wrong, whatever, right? If you know that there's that every single time that you go there, you're not going to get what you want out of it. At a certain point, you continuing to frequent that establishment's on you, not on them. Or
Right.
at least the blame shifts to where the majority of the blame's on your head.
Hmm.
And I'm not trying to tell people not to play this game, but if you don't like the events, if you don't like what's going on, and logging into this game is going to make you an unhappy person, then maybe it's time to take a break. Go play WWE No Mercy on the N64. You know, just go do something that makes you happy. So that's something that I could say. The other thing too is, like you said, whenever you last shot, and you talk
We're cutting out just a little bit, Sheik.
like,
Pause for a second and then restart
okay,
that thought because,
okay,
talking about things to lash out about, my internet's terrible right now and it's causing
yeah,
some issues. So go restart from that last sentence.
okay, yeah. About going and playing No Mercy.
Right after that. Yeah, right after the
Oh,
No
right after
Mercy.
that. Okay, okay, yeah. The other thing about constructive feedbacks, like you said, again, I don't want to make this the whole like this is what you've already talked about, but here's the
Right,
thing: like you're gonna say like, oh, this is the worst event ever. Oh, this blah 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 blah. Okay, what would you do differently? And then
right,
when you ask somebody like, okay, how would you make it better? And I mean like, and I don't mean that in a smart aleck way. It's like, okay, if this is so bad, what's your solution?
right,
And if your solution is just like, oh, I would give them away to everybody for free, that's not a constructive feedback
right.
on how to do things. So yeah, like I said, come back with some constructive, like come back with constructive feedback, and like legitimately, what would you do to make things better? So like, kind of like what I've talked about is, like if I were to say like, oh, the Showdown store sucks. Okay,
Right.
how does it suck? Oh, it just sucks. That what like what value does that add on my commentary or my feedback?
Right.
Like of course, like I was like, hey, it's like, here's like, and of course, then I came back and said like, oh, it's like when like or what you said with like TP, when like when moves cost X amount, we should have it updated. And I know some people are like, oh, I wanted to give away 100,000 TP. Well, okay, then like okay, great, let's just make everything for free,
Right.
but like I said, just given like realistic ways that things can be updated or made for the better. Now, here is the one retort that I will give you for what you said.
Sure.
Okay, so obviously there are real people behind the scenes. Okay, but one of the things that I've always said is communication, communication, communication.
Fair. Yeah.
Now, um, the issue that happens is when something gets screwed up on the weekend, you don't get any update until Monday most times.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I feel bad for y'all, honestly, because uh, who's the one that's on stream? Who's the one that's in front of the player base? It's you, not the people behind the scenes. And I get that, and here's the thing, I'm just saying, like, I know you're not going to have like a lead programmer get on the Champions Twitch and be like, oh, hey, oh, I'm sorry, I put a 1 in where I should have put a 0 and it
Right.
screwed up the code. Like, I get that. But um, the problem is, like I said, it's just, I feel like there's never a time where the game has been over communicated to people.
Mm.
And when I talk about people who feel that their voice isn't heard, I know I've brought this up multiple times on the forum. Hey, we have an AMA. Ask your questions, and we'll have a stream that goes through them. Where the hell's my stream? It's been what, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months? You guys can't, like, what's for
Oh man, you're
anything
cutting out right as
frustrating.
you're getting into it here. Start over from where's my stream?
Oh yeah, sorry. I was gonna say like, yeah. where's my AMA stream? You guys, they said that, oh, we're gonna have like what it. Don't get me wrong, I haven't even gone back and looked at it because it's been like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, whatever it is. But they said we're gonna have an AMA stream where we regularly go through your questions. Where the hell is it? What, like,
Yeah.
seriously, like, you're telling me that Furpo or one of the developers or anybody doesn't have 30 minutes in 6 months to read a forum post and put an AMA stream about it.
Yeah.
So that, like, it just, like, and then that's when people feel like, their feedback is just going into a black hole.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, we've talked many times before. The only mistake in communication is assuming it's happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, one leader says, when you think you've communicated so much that you want to throw up, you've just started communicating. So,
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, like I said, that would be what I would, just like that would be, like I said, that would be my only retort to people behind the thing. And I mean, like, and here's the thing too. Look, I'll gladly sit down with Furpo and talk him through how to do the Twitch stream. And you can't turn chat off if he feels like he's going to get on and just get trolled the entire time. You can turn chat off.
Yeah.
That there is an option to do that. Get on
Yeah.
and be like, hey, look, here's the forum post. Take down the question that he wants to answer. Take 30 minutes and be like, okay, here's the answer to this. Here's the answer to this. Here's the answer to this. Boom. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, hey, I'll host an AMA stream. Not with me, I open invitation to Scopely, right? You wanna hop on the Champs channel with me? I'm there. Yeah. Well, let's shift gears. Zombies month is next month. We'll probably do a more full stream with it next week on the topic. But I want to know your guesses, picks, thoughts on if there. Let's assume there's four, just for the safety sake of things. If there's four zombies next month, who do you want to see? Who do you think you'll see?
All right. So, as someone who's an OG, uh, so just like, oh my God, the game only has 6 months left for 7 years now.
Right.
Uh, I don't know. Like, I've heard that every year there's not going to be a zombies event. And I've
Right.
heard more and more chatter this specific one than any other year that there actually isn't going to be a zombies event this month.
Right.
So I just want to throw that out there again. I don't talk about rumor and innuendo, but I don't know. Like, first of all, if there is not a zombies event, I think they're going to do the Wyatt Six.
Yeah.
Uh, roll that in, and then have like one of the characters be like an OTC Roman or the Naomi, where it's like that fifth bonus character or whatever it is.
Right.
But if it is going to be Zombie Mom, um, I I don't know. Like, I hope. Well, of course, as always, I hope it's new people.
Right.
And I hope it's not a rehash of somebody who we just had a month ago, kind of like when we had Trickster Stacy and then Tech Stacy come out like back to back months.
Right.
But that being said, I would say AJ, but there's already a zombie AJ. I hate that there's not a good Asuka or a good AJ in the game, but
Right. They're both
we already have
taken.
those two.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I would say a zombie CM Punk would be great.
Yep. Oh, that's one of my picks. So we'll get there.
It's just sometimes it's so hard with the fact that you can have anybody, and there's
Right.
already like what 600 people in the game.
Over. Yeah. There's over. Naomi was the 600th, so there's
Yeah,
609 now, give or
yeah,
take.
exactly. Um,
Oh,
there's so many good ones out there. It's hard to pick, and of course, I know they need to be respectful um, to people who have passed. So, there's not going to be like a zombie Vader or,
Right.
things of that nature. Ooh, um, is there a zombie Foley yet? Oh, no, no, there is one. No, sorry. I was going to say that there he is.
Yeah. Boiler room Foley.
Yeah, Boiler Room. I was going to think like, oh, yeah, there's the mutant one. I was like, oh, yeah, there's the Boiler Room. Um, it's just, I don't know. It's so hard to pick. Just It just like I said, just somebody that's been out in the last 3 months. You know what? How about a zombie Chad Gable?
Ha! Oh, I hadn't thought about that. That'd be awesome, actually. I would enjoy that one. And he could have like the professor robes that are like melting, make him look like the genius from Lanny Poffo. That would be
Yeah.
that'd be fun. Well, okay, so here's my guesses. One, I'm pulling from somebody else, and I don't remember who, so I'm sorry, but you called it out too. I think the S plus tier needs to be Zombie CM Punk. I think the expectation was once they finally got Punk in the game that we were just going to see like 6 versions of him right away. And to Scopely's credit, they put like Logan Paul. There's still only one Logan Paul in the game. There's still only one CM Punk in the game. I'd like to see maybe a showboat zombie CM Punk as like the S plus tier. I think the free zombie is either going to be Karrion Kross or Grayson Waller. I think that those two would be interesting choices. I love the Chad Gable pick. And then I think the female, because usually there's at least one female zombie. When they were doing 6, they oftentimes did 2. I think it needs to be Nia Jax, because Nia Jax, this is our one chance to get Acrobat Nia in the game. I'm just saying. We got Acrobat Hogan by way of zombies, so let's get Acrobat Nia as well. No, honestly, I think she probably would be a striker. I don't know. Good guesses. I think, yeah, Chad Gable, like powerhouse zombie champ Chad Gable would be cool. I hadn't thought about that. I think the free character, the B tier, I should say, the B tier, free tier should be a class that we haven't gotten recently a lot of. Like we've gotten a lot of free acros, tech now. So I think maybe the free tier does need to be a showboat this time around. Maybe a trickster. Maybe Zombie Naya would be the free one. And maybe they go with female. Who knows? But yeah, those are my guesses. I think with zombies, they're not going to debut a character as a zombie. Maybe they would, but like my argument is if they're doing zombies, because I would assume they are. Like zombies are literally a cash cow for Scopely, from what I could see. Not inside track, just from what I could see. I don't think that they're going to put a brand new character or whatever they haven't gotten, and I don't think it would be Wyatt 6 because then, like I personally, if they put out Wyatt 6 instead of zombies, I would honestly have a little bit of a angst against those characters in the game because I like, you took my zombie month. What the heck is wrong with you? And if they did the Wyatt 6 as zombies, I think that would be super cool. But then I'd be like, okay, cool, but now give me the Wyatt 6, right? So
Yeah.
like either way, I don't think there's a strong win on that. Maybe there is, but yeah, I'd like to see some characters that haven't gotten like Naya. I don't personally like Naya as a wrestler, but the best Naya in the game is 6 years old and can barely win a match at 6 gold. So
Yeah.
let's fix that. Give me a striker. I don't give me an acrobat. I was joking, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Oh no, no,
yeah.
I get it.
And I think
Uh,
Zombie CM Punk prints money. I'm just
yeah.
saying. So
Another one that I was just kind of going through the list while you were talking. A zombie Braun Breaker.
oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, there hasn't been a Braun Breaker in a while. I think that would be a good pick.
Yeah. Zombie Braun Strowman would be fun too, like the big eating machine or whatever,
Yeah.
big eating nasty, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, because I got to tell you, it's like one of my favorite like taglines. I mean, lastly. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they can come up with a pretty good tagline for a Braun Strowman.
Right? Yeah, the all bitey. I like that one. That was fun.
Yeah. Um, the other thing, let's see. There's already a zombie Gunter.
Yep.
How about a zombie? How about having his teammates join him? A zombie Giovanni and Ludwig.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know if I'd be as excited about them as like even a Chad Gable, but again, I don't have to be excited about the the person that they pick as long as the character does great.
Yeah.
So,
And then another one that like I said, just going through the list, a zombie LA Knight would be cool.
oh, that would be okay. I like that. And again, another character that they've showed a lot of restraint on and not put out 7 versions of LA Knight yet with the height of his popularity.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, LA Knight would make a really fun zombie. Huh. Interesting. Well, you know what happened last year with this prediction stream
Yeah.
is Rusty and I got 4 out of the 6, right?
Yeah.
And then people started going, oh, because this was right before we became official content creators too. Or at least when we were, no, we were in early talks, I should say.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh, you guys had the inside track. You knew." I was like, "Literally no clue." But I mean, I specifically called the Usos as one zombie. I thought it was going to be face this way, turn around, face this way, or something like that. But I mean, you never know. They're going to be like, Iron Sheik has the inside track. He knows now. He called Zombie LA Knight. Oh man.
Oh yeah, what is it? Zandal and chat. I have chat up. Yeah, LA Bite. That would be great.
LA by. Oh, so chat is working. Okay, because it's not showing
Oh
up
no,
on
no.
my screen.
Oh no, I have the Twitch page up on. Like I have just have a different browser up with Twitch chat. So sorry, I haven't been ignoring you. I have been reading what everybody's been saying as we've been talking.
Oh, no, actually, that's because normally I interact with them, but because my internet is so, well, just call it potato. They all just call Rusty's potato internet. I'm at my office, and the internet, like, is literally crud right now. It's potato. Normally, it shows me right here on this. You can't see it, but it's right there. It shows
Yeah.
me the chat, and it shows on the scroll in between you and I on the screen. Neither of those things are happening. So it said
Yeah.
we've had 0 viewers this whole time. So my apologies. I also am not ignoring the chat. It's just
Yeah.
the potato internet right now.
Yeah. Also, somebody else said LA Fright. That's a good one.
Oh, I wish I could see you, chat. Oh,
Yeah.
LA Bite, LA Fright. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love
So
it.
I mean, yeah, there's a there's a lot of good like I said, and I mean I don't want somebody to get debuted just because they have a good like little tagline to put in there, but yeah, if I were to, I
It's
mean,
good.
I would yeah. So if I was so let's just say I'm gonna pick 4 with the bonus one.
Okay.
So I will say Gable, Knight, Punk.
Maybe a girl.
Yeah, let's say Braun, and then Naya as the female.
Okay. All right. And now you heard it right here. If those are the 5 zombies that come out next month, you can say Iron Sheik. He's hiding from us. He knows the inside track. No, we're kidding. We're kidding. Yeah, we're kidding. L.A. Fright. Oh, I'm gonna send that up the chain. Like just in case, if you're
Yeah,
trying to fight, because remember that one month or that one zombie month where they like it was Drew is what it was. They couldn't think of creative enough names for his stuff, so they just put it to the community. It was like you guys come up with the move names. I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
yeah.
Well, we've got a community spotlight. So those of you that I now know are on Twitch, I just can't see you in the chat bar on our screen. Sorry about my potato internet for the day. We're calling them to get it fixed. We're going to disappear for a second, and we're going to talk to the Taskmaster. If you're not familiar, on the Champions Chat Discord server, we have a feature, a little room called Taskmaster's Tasks, and he goes through and just tells you, day by day or week by week, like, hey, here's the things you actually need to be doing to get ahead and to see the MLC go well. So we're going to talk to Rensko, aka the Taskmaster, and for those on Twitch, I'm just going to pause for a second, then we'll be right back. What's up, WWE Champions Universe? Back with another one of our community spotlights. And this time, we've got Rensko, who is not only a part of my faction family, but also has a very special role on our Discord server that could be carried over to your Discord server. So, Rensko, introduce yourself, say what faction you're in and what you like about the faction and or the game right now.
Hi, I'm Rensko84, or some of you may know me as the Taskmaster, part of Toxic Mafia with Lee and Rusty. And yeah, with the game right now, I'm really liking I don't know, the chase and like this month with Jacob Fatu, like just went all in for him, and I don't think I'm gonna get him this weekend, but I'll get him by the end of the month.
Nice. Yeah, I'm in the same position. I mean, especially with there being no shards this weekend. Of course, by the time this comes out, it'll be our next podcast episode, so it'll actually be past the weekend
Right.
we're talking about. So hey, congratulations, Rensko, on getting Jacob Fatu in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully by the time everyone hears this.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm enjoying that as well. So you have a role as the Taskmaster you mentioned. Tell me a little about what that is for people who aren't familiar, where they can find it, and why did you think about doing this?
Yeah, so I'll start with the last question first. Just being on Discord and Reddit and seeing like lots and lots of posts about people getting upset at the game and saying it's not fair and there's no point. And I'm a relatively low spender, but I do spend here and there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just thinking like the points are there. Like I'm getting the points, but
Right.
the community isn't knowing where those points are. So I started it up to help those people that were feeling frustrated with the game at not being able to max MLC and want to break it down. Okay, this is what you need to do every day, and if you do this, if you follow this plan, you will max MLC.
Nice. Nice. So I like
Yeah.
we're doing the Simon Sinek format here. You've got the why, now the what, and then the how. So what is
Yeah.
the Taskmaster's tasks, and where is it found?
Yeah, so it's found on the Champions Chat Discord. Please join if you aren't already a member. And if you join there, you will see a little section that's called Taskmaster's Tasks. That's my little corner of the Discord. And yeah, in there'll be things that I post for these are the things you need to do today. And then there's also a chat room where I encourage people to chat, like say you need to use a champion that is not very good. Like how do I do this? Like first off, you can look at the 3-minute move sets. But
Yeah.
then if you still have questions, you can come to the chat room and I'll talk to you and maybe give you some tips for trainers you could use or moves to help you get through it.
Nice, nice. So that's kind of the how do you find it? Now,
And
for a little while
yeah,
there, you had the Taskmaster's tasks, and you had this thing with the Guardian. You were kind of building out a storyline. Talk about that, and I know it kind of got a little sidetracked due to some life stuff,
yeah,
but what was that all about for those who don't know?
yeah, it was just my little fun. I longtime fan of Marvel Comics, so the Taskmaster is basically not really a hero, not really a villain. It's been used as like a trainer for superheroes and also villains, and so it's my little persona for helping train the community. And then July came around, and it was Canada Month in the game, and I'm a Canadian myself,
Oh,
so I thought, how do I change this to reflect the Canada-ness? So then the Guardian from Alpha Flight Canadian came in and he kicked the
nice.
Taskmaster out for a bit.
Nice, nice. So off topic of the game, but how do you feel about the way the MCU has done the Taskmaster, and are you hopeful for, the Asterix movie? We don't know. It's Thunderbolts Asterix, as if they're going to change it. So, thoughts so far and hopes for the Taskmaster in that. What do you think?
I got pretty burned out after Endgame, so
Ah,
I did see Black Widow where Taskmaster was in it, and they changed a lot, not for the better, but
right. It's not about the gender swap. They just didn't
yeah,
like that character. It's like Deadpool. Like Deadpool when he first came out in the Wolverine X-Men Origins Wolverine movie, was like the merc with a mouth, and then they taped his mouth shut. Like Taskmaster's like a snarky, funny, but also kind of wicked. Like in this one, it was just like a girl who got turned into a zombie, basically.
yep.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Hopes for the Thunderbolts, or are you still kind of Marvel fatigued?
I'm still pretty fatigued. Yeah, the
Well,
yeah, I don't know. It was just after the whole snap and the resolution of it, it just I don't know. It sucked me out of it. But one day I'll get back into it when my kids get older and want to watch it.
there you go. Or, if they really pull off Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, that
Yeah.
could be. We'll see. We'll see. I've New Rock Stars and Screen Crush both have some videos that are like, oh wow, if they do that, this makes all the sense in the world. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? So, what's the future of the Taskmaster on the Champs Chat? And by the way, real quick before I forget, I know we figured out how to integrate that same text thread so that you don't have to do it in two places on the Toxic Mafia server. So if there's other factions who love the Taskmaster's tasks, certainly you can get it on the Champions Chat Discord. But there may be ways to do a bot to integrate it onto your server as well. But all that to say, where's Taskmaster at? What's the future of it coming into this month, Zombie Month, etc.
Yeah, so with the format change of the contest, so now it's more chasing the characters all throughout the month. I saw less of a importance for maxing the MLC. I mean, it's still really good to max the MLC,
Yeah,
and while you're chasing the shards of the chase characters, you're gonna be also picking up those points. But yeah, I saw more of a desire for like doing the chase. So just this month, I put together some spreadsheets of where I took the blog post from the beginning of the month and where it says where all the shards are, and I put it in a Excel table to show these are the free shards available, these are the bonus ones, and then there's a column where you can enter how much you got out of each contest, and then you can just follow along and see exactly like, okay, they said this much is left, so you can just do a
nice.
little bit more planning.
Yeah, I think that's super helpful too. Because like Rusty and I talked a bit yesterday, and then just off stream today, as we were talking about like plans for the stream this tonight, as of when we're recording this and all that. Of Jacob Fatu. Like Jacob Fatu is my only goal. Like there's other characters I'd love to have this month, but Jacob is the get for me. And so like just recognizing, oh my goodness, like actually weekend one and midweek that we just did are some of the best places for me to get shards. And then of course, we just did the WCW video, the weekend contest walkthrough. There's no shards this weekend as when we're recording it of him. So if we're on a shard chase, like it's not about going for the debut loot necessarily.
Yeah.
It's about finding where those shards are. So that type of a document is and will become super, super useful and invaluable as this format continues. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah. I must admit, while filling it out myself, like it's quite cumbersome to remember, okay, did I get those shards from that place or did I get them from that place? And so, yeah,
Yeah,
just
it's
fill it out
true.
as best you can.
Yeah, and as always, same thing we always have to say with our content. Subject to change, right? You could
Yeah.
do everything exactly the way the blog says, and then they swap a weekend or shift some shards somewhere or, something like that.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, it could be crazy. Well, so talk to me about how doing the Taskmaster tasks has helped you in your own. I mean, obviously, like you're not just the one creating it; you're benefiting from it. So, how has that improved your gameplay?
Yeah, I mean, it's something like I played this game for quite a few years without really being too committed to it, and I was in sub 100 factions and didn't even really know what a faction was. I was just there along for the ride.
Just there.
But but then when I discovered like it probably took me months till after the portal was there before I even discovered that there was such thing as a portal and that I should be
Yeah.
checking it. And when I discovered that in the news posts, and I was like, oh, so I can actually make a plan. I'm a planner, if you can't tell.
Right.
So yeah,
That,
so I
that's
just saw
helpful.
the opportunity and made my plan and decided to share it.
Yeah. That's awesome. And you mentioned something about, the free to play, low spend player, which is a lot of, we talk to and try to help out that demographic a lot on our channel. And I think there's a misnomer or a false narrative out there that if you are free to play, oh, you just can't get anything. You're not gonna, if you're free to play, you're probably not gonna get Jacob Fatu and solo, but you have a path to Tamatonga. You have a path to certain things. Like for example, this month you have a path to a Piper plate, which is huge. Or if you nothing else, you also have 1 to 2 of the gold coins that you could get. And I saw somebody this week who pulled a 6-star silver Muda from one single gold coin that they got for what they could do so far in the MLC, and I'm like, I'm still chasing Muda.
Yeah.
Jeez. So talk about what you think's realistic for the free to play low spend. Like, what are some proper expectations, for an average month in this
Yeah.
current kind of meta?
Yeah. I would think that as long as you're following the tasks and doing everything daily, then it should be relatively. I don't want to say easy because it's never easy, but
Right.
there is a path to recruiting the A tier champion, and there is a path to maxing the MLC. Um, it a lot of times it requires a lot of patience and planning and hold a lot of willpower because you wanna upgrade your champions, you want to do this, but oh, a talent up's not going on, so I
Right.
can't do that because I don't have the resources or things like
Right.
that.
Yeah,
The
that makes
game
sense.
is a lot like a resource management sim as well as uh, gem smashing puzzle game.
I, that's a good way to put it. I like that. It's a resource management simulator. Yeah, I mean it's like playing Sim City with wrestlers in tights who smash gems. I like
Yep.
that. Nice. So you said you've been playing for a long time. Just some stuff off the Taskmaster stuff, but tell me who right now or for a while has been your favorite characters to use, and like what type of roster strategy do you have that maybe others could benefit from?
Yeah, so I mean, I like to I like to kind of like I overthink things a lot. So
Okay.
my people that I bring to 6-star gold have to be basically gem damage people. Like I like if they're a move damage person, they can be great at 6-star bronze, and I have no need to bring them up to 6-star gold. Like
Right.
at one of the showdowns, I think it was last week's showdown, I was using 6-star bronze Bam Bam Bigelow $1 million corp
Okay.
because he was just power gems that you can fill the board with power gems, and those don't scale up and they can kill a 6-star gold. So I can turn 1 them with 6-star bronze, I have no need to use resources on him to bring him higher, even though he's great. But
Right.
and so I've liked using him. Ozzy has been great with his 1 MP moves.
Yeah. Yeah. My best trickster by far.
Yeah. And yeah, I chase after the zombies quite a bit. So I Z Sammy, and he's been pretty great for me.
Yes, absolutely. Zombie Sammy is by far my favorite striker in the game, and I was using him for the striker requirements this last week on the gym or Extreme Rules, and even just basically setting him up where I never knew if I was going to hit more than like two, like, you know, 1-3 match, but it would only match 2 gems or, you know, whatever, because you have to swipe one up or swipe one down into it. And I was still hitting 50, 60 million just with 2 gems breaking in it, making 2 columns. So whenever Zombie Month hits next month, I'm assuming next month, like theoretically it should be October, right? I am hoping that they put the zombie moment from last year on the portal,
same.
and I'm hoping that Zombie Becky's gear is there. If those 2 things happen, regardless of whatever else happens, I'll be super stoked.
Yeah, I want that moment so much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy for Becky, crazy for Sammy, crazy for others, and of course I don't have Zombie Randy Orton still. I don't have, there's a few zombies that I'm missing. So who knows? We'll see. But is Zombie Month your favorite event, or do you have a different one right now?
Yeah, it definitely would be. I remember the first time when I first started taking the game seriously was when it was what was it? Zombie Drew. So
nice.
then that's when I remember that. I remember chasing after who was it with him? Lashley. I remember doing that chase and coming up so short.
Yeah.
I didn't get him until I think it was just a couple months ago at like the spring event.
Oh wow. Yeah. I'm sorry for that. Zombie Lashley was my first chase character that I ever got in the game. So yeah, that would also be the month where I started figuring it out, I guess, because that was oh wow. And Zombie Bobby was my go-to for a long time. Long time. And you just never know. I mean, we're seeing characters all the time that get brought back by one new trainer or one plate that shows up or whatever. So who knows? Maybe Zombie Lashley will get revived, so to speak, here in the future. Could happen.
Yep.
Any guesses towards the... now, I don't know anything. I literally have no inside information on this, but any guesses towards the zombies we'll see next month?
I'm guessing the S plus will be CM Punk, because we have the one CM Punk in the game, and I think they're going to want to put more in, and a zombie one, I think, is going to be good for the game.
Okay.
So that's my one that it seems silly saying confident about, but I think he'll appear somewhere. Maybe not that tier, but I think he will appear.
Could be, yeah. Rusty and I are going to do this in a couple weeks, so spoilers, because I wasn't even thinking about CM Punk yet. I don't know why, but I have this idea in my head that the free is going to be Karrion Kross, just because I think that Final Testament gimmick would make a good zombie-based gimmick as well. Like they could run with that. There's a lot of people in the community calling for the Wyatt Six. Obviously, that would work. Although, do we want their debut in the game to be zombie versions, or do we want them to debut instead of zombies? That would be I think people would riot. So, who knows? Who knows? Well, we've got just another minute or so here. Anything else you want to shout out before we go?
I just want to remind people to check out your Discord. I'm sure there'll be a link somewhere, and come say hi. I'll be there.
Yep. So check out the Taskmaster's tasks, and there's a nice little thread where you can just hit up the Taskmaster for for advice, points, tips on how to get points, and all of the above. So, Rensko, thank you for joining us on here. By the way, we didn't mention it, but there's a few videos of our polls reactions, including one that Rensko did in honor of our friend and fallen leader Schmeich. So be sure to check out those videos as well. And back to the podcast. And we're back. So I've only got about 10-ish, 15 more minutes, Sheik. WWE TV this week, the last couple weeks, they've been debuting almost entirely on USA. They're getting ready for the big switch to Netflix. CM Punk has been on NXT, and Randy Orton is wrestling on NXT. What's going on, Sheik?
So I haven't been able to catch up on wrestling as much as I wanted to, so I might have to defer to you on here. But I did see CM Punk on NXT. I will say I was a little kind of disappointed in Roxanne's promo with them.
Yeah.
I think it could have been done just a wee bit better, but. For those of you who don't know this, just as a side note, apparently CM Punk hung around NXT and did 2 laps of the arena taking photos and autographs with fans.
Wow.
So kudos to him. I mean, I know that has nothing to do with this, but just still, I think that's cool of him to hang around and make sure that everybody that was there got a picture and an autograph or whatever they wanted.
Yeah. No, I agree. That is awesome. That is awesome. No, and to be honest, I'm with you. I went to Raw live, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, whatever it was, and then since then I have not been able to catch a whole lot. So for me, I watch the Wrestle Talk highlights, and they kind of share what's going on, their thoughts, their reviews of it. But I think the interesting topic for me is okay, they're really trying to make sure these shows, now that they're shifting, go well. I know Wrestle Talk talked about the overnight scores, the Nielsen reporting, etc., and basically said that SmackDown, now being on USA, is getting what they consider to be really good numbers. It's lesser than Fox because it's less people in America have USA Network as have Fox Network. I have no cable at all, so I can actually now watch SmackDown now that it's on USA. I couldn't watch Fox in my area, so it is what it is. But they're getting ready for the big shift to Netflix, and even the CW. They're really trying to make sure that the CW goes, oh wow, look at what we've got here. So I guess the question to end on with it is it sustainable, or do you think they will try to have CM Punk, have Randy Orton, have whatever, on NXT for how long? Or do you think that it'll, this is just let's make a big splash and then we'll kind of go back to business as usual?
So I do think it's going to be one of those, they're going to front load the first few weeks, month, whatever you want to talk about. And then they're going to probably have a quarter or semi-annual appearance from some a big name, or maybe an upper mid-tier person go to NXT, kind of like before. So if you remember when Dork Jr. went down and won the North American title, or when Ziggler won the NXT title, or Becky went down and
won the NXT belts.
Yeah. I think what's going to happen is, like I said, so you'll have a CM Punk, maybe they'll have Cena on the, or whatever, they're going to do something like that where they have the bigger names, have everybody tune in, and then they're going to peter it off, and then they'll have a sprinkling of main roster talent coming on here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. And then similarly, SmackDown going to USA, I think that, they are trying to do things a little bit bigger. Obviously, starting out with a cage match, grudge feud end between Cody and Solo. Solo's not clicking for me, but in game now, or he's not my favorite character this month, and he's not on TV either. But I mean, just the fact that they started off with this world champion match cage match, all this, and then there's rumors that Roman Reigns might actually be more full time than we thought. He might be kind of back on there, and what happens when The Rock shows back up, etc. I would say between now and Netflix, now in January, they're going to try and build a palpable amount of momentum. And then I think that they have to pay it off with the first episode on Netflix. I think the first episode on Netflix is going to be like when they did Raw 1000 or whatever, except for this will be the first time we get to see it under the Triple H regime. Do they bring back 75 legends, or do they highlight new talent? Do they have a bunch of segments where everybody's free to use the F word as much as they want, or do they establish the fact that they're still a PG to maybe borderline PG-13 product? I think these questions are really going to shape the next couple of months, but especially when they drop on Netflix, that's going to be okay, here's your chance. Can you reach 40 million people instead of 5 million or a million a week or whatever it is? So
just as a side note, I'm not I know I keep a PG for this, obviously, per wishes,
right, thank you.
I mean, if it gets a little edgier, sure, I'm fine with that. But if I'm watching, if I'm watching Netflix and every other word is the F word, it loses all meaning when you throw it out too much. So, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there,
Sure.
But about the legends, by the way, I know this is just a little bit of a side note. If they're gonna do a legends or something like that, I get that there's a limited pool of people,
right?
But one of the things that I wish, it's whenever they do when they do a legends thing, right?
Yeah.
It's always Sergeant Slaughter, this, that, and the other, and then when it's it's always Austin that comes back. It's always, this person that comes back. The thing is that, look, I understand that, Hardcore Holly is not going to have the draw that, Stone Cold does, right?
Right.
But, it would be nice to have somebody other than the same 5 people who come back for every single Legends show, every single Attitude Era callback. I want to see Hardcore Holly. I want to see Steve Blackman. I want to see, there were other people other than Stone Cold and The Rock and Foley that were there for the Attitude Era.
Right. Yeah, that's true. In fact, that was one of their deepest rosters, theoretically.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Just throwing that out as a side note. But one of the things I will say that I will predict for the very first Netflix show is I do think there's going to be a major title change. Whether it's the women's, whether it's I definitely don't think it's going to be Cody, and I don't think it's going to be Gunter, but I do feel like maybe one of the women's championships are going to change, maybe Intercontinental.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's going to be, or there's going to be like you said, either The Rock or somebody's going to come back for episode 1.
Right. I agree. I think that would be, and I think Netflix opens up some possibilities. But like you said, if I feel like I'm watching a Deadpool movie, then maybe we've got a little too far. Especially considering I want my kids to still be able to watch this show with me and etc. But Netflix does open up other possibilities. Imagine a Triple H or even Paul Heyman led reality where, because of Netflix, they could revive ECW, and then ECW can have all the F words, all the, extreme matches that they want to have, that they used to, they couldn't get away with it on TV, quote unquote. Well, now you could, but let that be its own thing, right? If you want to do something like that, don't go back to light tube matches that legitimately, you could kill somebody with. But, you want to do thumbtacks, you want to do blood, you want to do, salty language, you want to do some adult angles. Revive ECW. Yeah. ECW on Netflix is legitimately some people's dream.
Yeah.
But keep Raw PG, borderline PG-13, and I think we've got a good plan. So there you go, Paul Levesque. You can steal my idea free of charge.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but no, I agree with you. I'm not a fan of hardcore wrestling, so it's the light tubes, thumbtacks, and not a fan.
Right. Oi. Well, unfortunately, I'm about out of time. I've got to get. I'm at work. I've got to get to work in the philosophical sense here. But first of all, I apologize for the internet here at work being a problem. We're going to work on that. And if it continues, I'll just adjust next week and maybe do this from home and then rush over to work here real quick. But as always, I do want to take a chance to shout out our friend Iron Sheik 84. So thankful for you to be a repeat guest. And guys, if you aren't following Iron Sheik on Twitch and on YouTube and on Reddit, and if you're not in his Discord server, what are you even doing with life? He's one of the best content creators, unofficial content creators out there. We love him. Please follow him. Sheik, how do people follow you and find you?
Yeah. For more WWE Champions action, make sure to follow me on Twitch and YouTube at Iron Sheik 84, and then I have my Discord links in whenever I do stream in there, and then the YouTube descriptions have them.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for doing this, for being a part of this, and man, totally appreciate you. We're going to end stream. Sheik and I are going to talk for a minute, and then I got to get to work. So thank you, all those who are on our Twitch here. We are going to be live tonight, Rusty and I, on the official channel to give you your live WCW, and we're going to power rate, I don't know, maybe a Ninja Turtle or something in the midst of this. Or maybe we'll finish off Tamatonga, and then the next 2 weeks will be Ninja Turtles. Plus, we'll be live on Friday, but we're going to be live at a different time. Rusty, if you can't tell, schedule's getting a little bit crazy with his schooling, and so we are probably going to be live on the official channel Friday right about reset. So, not in the evening, during the daytime for most. So that works, I know, great for our UK fans and those other overseas. So plan that, and we will see you guys next time. Appreciate you. Bye.